Hello, my name is Andrew Edwards and I've written a biography of an English soldier, Leo Norbury Murphy, the man who saved a town. This chap here. On October the 19th, 1914, near the Belgian city of Ypres, a protracted period of fierce combat began. The Germans opened their Flanders offensive and the Allies steadfastly resisted, while seeking their own chances to go on the attack wherever possible. Fighting continued with heavy losses on both sides until the critical day, October the 31st, 1914, and the Battle of Gheluvelt. The Kaiser had proclaimed his intention to join his forces for a triumphant entry into Ypres, and the small village of Gheluvelt on the Ypres to Menin road stood in the way of the advancing German army. The remnants of several British battalions who had been fighting day and night to guard the road faced overwhelming odds against the well-equipped German army. An artillery bombardment began as day broke and the German infantry attacked. Many of the British units were decimated. One of these, Leo's 1st Battalion of the Queen Surrey Regiment, faced a German attack from their front and was enfiladed from either flank, trapped and unable to move. When all seemed lost, the order was given for the 357 men of the Worcester Regiment to attack. The Worcesters had been held in reserve in Polygon Wood overlooking the town. They ran at the double over open ground for 1,000 yards, ignoring the German machine guns and artillery shells exploding above and around them. Wounded men on the battlefield cried out to them to go back, as certain death awaited them. Over 100 men of the Worcesters were killed during the charge. The Allies suffered 20,000 casualties and the Germans around 13,500. The Germans were taken by surprise and were either killed or retreated, leaving weapons and equipment in their wake. Leo was one of only 32 survivors out of nearly 1,000 men in his battalion who had set out from England in August. This number included cooks and transport. Gheluvelt Park in Worcester was opened on the 17th of June 1922 by Field Marshal John French, the 1st Earl of Ypres, to commemorate the Worcester Regiment's part in the Battle of Gheluvelt. General French stated during the opening ceremony, "On that day, the 2nd Worcesters saved the British Empire." Leo was transferred to the Royal Fusiliers in 1916 and employed on military intelligence tasks and appointed an acting corporal. We now jump to 1918 and the town of Bethune in northern France. In the spring of 1918, the German High Command decided to carry out a series of attacks at various places along the Western Front, and this became known as the Spring Offensive. The Germans had realised that their only remaining chance of victory was to defeat the Allies before the overwhelming human and material resources of the United States could be fully deployed. In Flanders, an attack along the Lys River enabled the German army to take Balliol and threaten Mount Carmel. However, once again they failed at Bethune. This failure provoked the Germans into bombarding the town centre with incendiary and shrapnel shells. Bethune burned for more than 4 days, and the main square and its surrounding buildings were completely destroyed. Leo, through his role with military intelligence, realised the town of Bethune would be heavily shelled, and on the 13th and 14th of April, he organised the evacuation of the population via train during the bombardment. While moving through the town with artillery shells falling all around, Leo heard cries coming from a bombed-out building. He dug down and found Ernest and Armeline Droy, together with their daughter Emilie, covered in rubble in the building cellar. Once safely extracted, they were evacuated on the next train. Leo was awarded the Médaille Militaire and the Croix de Guerre by the French government for his part in organising the evacuation of civilians from Bethune. Following his demobilisation in 1919, Leo returned to Bethune, where he met with the Droy family, who he had rescued from the cellar of their bombed house. Romance was in the air, and Leo began a courtship with Emilie, the daughter, leading to their wedding later that year. Leo was later to recount how he was introduced to his wife, a French woman, when she was covered by bricks and fallen masonry, and in his own words, they lived happily ever after. Leo and Emilia went on to have 3 surviving children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. If you want to hear the next chapter in Leo's life, you need to buy the book, which will be published soon. All proceeds going to the Royal British Legion. Thanks for listening.